The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. Well, it's that time many of us will be getting on the road to travel for the holiday, going out of town for Thanksgiving. So we have some tips to keep you safe. Let's get to it.
We brought in our expert, Doug Shoup with AAA Texas, to tell you how to get prepared for the roads. It may be crazy out there because people are fearing flying right now, being caught up in the travel delays. So, Doug, what can we expect on the roads this year?
Hey there, Isaiah. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's going to be extremely crowded out there on roadways across Texas, but also across the country. AAA Texas is projecting 5.8 million people here in the Lone Star State will be taking a trip of 50 miles or more away from home. Now, the vast majority are going to be going by automobile. We're looking at 5.3 million Texans taking a road trip. About 328,000 will fly here in Texas, and then about 140,000 will take another mode of transportation, like a train, a bus, or even a cruise for this holiday. Nationally, we're anticipating nearly 82 million Americans are going to be traveling this week for Thanksgiving, and our official Thanksgiving forecast begins tomorrow and runs through next Monday. So in those 5 days across the country, nearly 82 million people will be traveling. About 73 million will be taking road trips, and then about 6 million flying nationwide.
So if you're staying at home, then you're in the odd number. You're doing well. You don't have to worry about the heavy traffic out there. But for those who are on the road, what's some advice for them if they're traveling, driving? I remember not too long ago, we were talking about COVID and traveling with mask on your face. Now that that's over, what are some of the big concerns about hitting the road for the holiday?
Well, most people want to know, when is the best time to hit the road? When is it going to be the most congested? And we are anticipating that Tuesday afternoon, so tomorrow afternoon and Wednesday afternoon, are going to be the heaviest on roadways all across the country. And then also Sunday after Thanksgiving, as people return home, it's going to be very busy throughout the day on Sunday. The best advice is to leave as early in the day as you possibly can. You still want to drive at times when you're normally awake, so you're not drowsy behind the wheel, but you want to get up, have your coffee, hit the road. What you really want to do, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday, is avoid those afternoon rush hour times. That's when people are going to be heading home from work or making those last minute trips to the grocery store for, things for Thanksgiving dinner. And you really want to avoid the afternoon hours on Tuesday and Wednesday because that's going to be the busiest. So just get up and head out as early as you can. We're also really encouraging drivers to inspect their vehicles before that long road trip. We're anticipating coming to the roadside rescue of 29,000 stranded drivers in Texas alone over the next 5 days. Now, the primary reasons why people will call AAA for help will be dead batteries, flat tires, and then people locking themselves out of their vehicle. So check your tire tread, check your tire inflation. Make sure your battery has a good charge and you've cleaned off any corrosion around the battery terminals. Most batteries last 3 to 5 years. So if your battery is 3 years old or older, you might want to have it tested before that long road trip. Of course, you also want to check your headlights, your taillights, turn signals, make sure they're all working properly so that other drivers know what your intentions are on the roadway. And finally, replace those windshield wiper blades if they're streaking, because you need to clearly be able to see out of that windshield should you encounter rain along your journey.
And if you're going up north, I think we're anticipating, some very cold weather. So you have to be prepared for that, especially with batteries, with tires, in case you run into snow, just how far north you're going. Here in Texas, you probably won't have to worry about that, but you have to be winterized and winter ready if you're going up north.
You are absolutely correct. And that's why we also recommend that you have an emergency roadside kit in your vehicle. And this is something that you can purchase at any discount store or, a big box retail store, or you can just make one on your own. Things that you should have: jumper cables, a warning triangle. Should you break down, you want to let other motorists know that your, vehicle is stopped there alongside the roadway. You want to have some basic tools. You want to have bottles of water, non-perishable food. And if you are driving to areas that are expecting winter weather, have extra blankets with you in the car, some extra jackets, so that should you encounter trouble along the roadway, you're going to stay warm, you're going to be comfortable. And then, of course, don't forget that mobile phone charger, so that should you need to call AAA for help, you're going to have the battery in your phone to do so.
I think that's the last thing people will forget about, making sure they have everything they need for that damn cell phone, Doug.
Yeah.
Now, if we have maybe college students coming home for the holiday break or traveling for the holiday break, would you advise them? There's a lot of technology out there and there's a lot of weirdos out there too, but would you advise them to have their location services on, GPS on, or on their phone rather, the location service, so their family can monitor them as they travel along if they're going a long distance somewhere?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Share your location with your loved ones so that they can track your journey, and that's not going to distract you while you're driving.
Don't go anywhere. We'll continue with the tips you need this holiday season. And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. Right now, you and your family probably gearing up to go out of town for the holidays, so we have the tips you need. Let's get back to Doug Shoup with AAA Texas.
And we also want to remind people that every state in America has a slow down, move over law. What that means is if you see a tow truck, a police car, an ambulance, a fire truck stopped on the side of the highway with their lights flashing and they're assisting motorists who are stranded, you are required by law to get out of that lane closest to the emergency vehicle. Or if you can't safely get out of that lane, you need to slow way down. And this is really intended to protect those roadside heroes who are out there doing their best to help us as stranded motorists, get back on our way. And so we really need to give those emergency responders the space that they need to do their job safely.
And Doug, for those who may be traveling, we're talking about the need for being paying attention, attentive drivers out there, because you may be going to an area you're not familiar with. You may not know the patterns of traffic, the flow of traffic in a new city that you may be visiting for the holidays. How important is it that you pay attention? And people who may be, out there driving, drinking and driving as well, being attentive to your surroundings in that car, looking out for yourself and the other driver as well.
Yeah, you are so right. I mean, we all need to be watching out for one another. And when you mention about impaired driving, that Wednesday before Thanksgiving is often a time where friends gather, they go out and celebrate. We want this Thanksgiving to be remembered for those great times with our loved ones and not remembered for a horrific tragedy. And that's why AAA has joined Mothers Against Drunk Driving for a 5-year initiative to reduce impaired driving deaths. And, unfortunately, from 2019 to 2023, 868 lives were lost in impaired driving crashes across America during Thanksgiving, which accounted for 35% of all of the holiday traffic fatalities. So, plan ahead, just have that rideshare service, a designated non-drinking driver, or just stay overnight wherever you plan to celebrate. And we just everybody remember to think safety. I know it's one of those times where we're thinking, what else do I need to bring to dinner? What kind of gifts are we going to get on Black Friday? But we should really be thinking about safety first on the way to our Thanksgiving destinations as well as on the way home.
All right, Doug Shoup with AAA Texas. Doug, for those who want to get these tips again really quick, where can they go to get more information on you guys and print out or copy a list. People don't print anything
Yeah,
anymore,
we
but
have a
that's
lot of
just
this.
me.
Yeah, we have a lot of the stuff on AAA.com. And then also, if you need a little bit of help getting your vehicle road trip ready, AAA does offer a free service called the AAA Approved Auto Repair Program. And it's a place where you can go and find AAA approved, trusted auto repair facilities. And you can find that at AAA.com/AAR for approved auto repair.
All right, Doug Shoup, AAA Texas, thank you for your wonderful advice as we begin traveling this week for the holiday. Everyone be safe out there. Be careful out there.